Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Kristen Hansen and this is Goddess Imagine, a transformational yoga and modern metaphysical studio. I'm here today with a brand new tarot reading that's called Making Ourselves a Priority and Our Dreams and Goals a Reality. I've also created a yoga class with the exact same title that I've already uploaded into the channel. So if you're someone that's been feeling challenged around this topic, I sincerely invite you to check out that class. I created both the class and this reading for those of us that struggle with putting ourselves first and living the lifestyle that we've always imagined. Many of us were raised with stories that focused on fear instead of influence. They range with anything from money was the root of all evil, wanting more and better was selfish, that women should abandon their careers for their children, success was meant for someone else. Some of us heard how it was more important to step down from our light as we encouraged others to shine theirs, that it was noble and appealing to put others' ambitions ahead of our own. Some of us were raised to believe that wanting a beautiful home, buying nice things, pursuing our passions, and having financial freedom was unrealistic and ridiculous, that we should be grateful for everything that we have and not want one penny more. There are thousands of these misguided stories and beliefs that we've heard throughout our lifetime that have seriously impacted our ability to make ourselves a priority and our dreams and goals a reality. Over time, they've caused us to put our ambitions on the back burner, convincing ourselves that they were unnecessary and we were unworthy. Today, we close the book on those lies and return to the truth. Those stories were never ours to begin with. They were handed to us by individuals who were reflecting their own lies, their own limitations, and their own disappointments. In our reading, we will create space for new and empowering stories, ones that fuel happiness and success. We will remember the incredible woman that we were originally created to be. We'll acknowledge the exact type of lifestyle that we've always wanted to lead. We will wake up to the fact that we are more than worthy of making ourselves a priority and our dreams and goals a reality. Because here's the deal. There are no extra people. Each and every one of us came into this world with a gift, a passion, a purpose, and a plan. And it's up to us to discover what those individual elements are to connect to that energy to achieve everything that we desire. In our reading today, we'll use the cards to explore where we're at in this current moment of time, how we can deconstruct those debilitating stories, how we can connect to who we are at a core level, what dreams and desires lie within us, and how we can take everything that we've learned today to connect to that energy and move us forward to create a powerful difference in the world around us. And together, we'll continue our journey of becoming the highest version of ourselves and making all of our dreams come true. Before I begin the reading, I'd like to take a moment to prepare myself. You're more than welcome to join me if you'd like. If you're busy doing something else and you can't close your eyes down right now, then you can simply tune into the sound of my voice. But this helps me to connect to and activate my intuition, and it also helps my listeners to bring their energy in and then focus in on what it is that they'd like to learn from this reading. And we can do this wherever you're at. I just like to sit up nice and tall to align my chakras. I put my feet flat on the floor and then I close my eyes down. We just take about 60 seconds to collect ourselves. We can take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We ground, center, and focus our mind, body, and spirit. We invite our higher power and our spiritual team to join us. We connect with our inner goddess. We embrace our divine feminine energy. And we can also use this time to set a personal intention, something that we'd like to uniquely learn from our reading today. When we're finished, we say, so mote it be. Then we take one more deep breath in. Exhale, we breathe out. Beautiful. Open up our eyes and we begin. And as I give the cards a shuffle here today, I invite you to think about, what stories did you hear when you were growing up? Was there any one particular story? Was there any one particular voice that you heard? Was it someone in your family, maybe in your community? Usually there was one person that was pretty vocal with their beliefs that they would, shout at us whenever we'd want to do something. I'm Generation X, so I grew up in a time where our families and communities had a lot of beliefs about a lot of things. But we may not recognize that, or that the effect that it has on us, right? We hear those things and then we wonder, why can't I put myself first? What comes up whenever I want to do something for myself? And then we realize, ooh, maybe there was something I heard in the past. And something that I've learned in my travels and in my studies is that our parents and people ahead of us, most of them are doing the best they could with the information that they had at the time. Certainly not everyone, but the bigger message was that we start to disconnect from that negativity and we turn our energy inwards towards ourselves, right? We have to learn to let those things go. And this is a powerful way to begin that process. All right, our cards are shuffled. Let's begin. So we start with card number 1. Where am I at in this moment? This card gives us a virtual snapshot or upper level look into our current status quo. It helps us to understand how we may be thinking or what we may be feeling about ourselves and our lifestyle. When we've had our head down and away from the forefront of our life, we don't always see or feel the full effect of our decisions. While it may initially appear that we're being helpful, supportive, and encouraging, but in reality, we've been denying ourselves the happiness and celebration that comes along with achieving our deepest desires. This card can deliver the necessary wake-up call that finally opens our eyes and kickstarts the healing process. Some thoughts for us to consider are, how do I feel when I consistently step away from my light? Where am I secretly holding resentment for not allowing myself to shine? What do I honestly think and feel when I see others achieving their dreams and goals? So for card number 1, where am I at in this moment? We have the Page of Swords. The swords represent our intuition, intellect, our intelligence, also communication and the truth. And a page represents we're coming up into the court cards. We've been through the minor arcana, we're learning things, we tripped and fell, we got back up again, and we're starting to get a little bit of momentum. We enter into the court cards, and this is where we start to learn our skills. What are our gifts and graces? And as we continue to rise, we sharpen and hone those skills. When we're at the page level, we're right at the beginning. So when we have the question, where am I at in this moment? We keep feeling like we have to start over. The page is yielding the sword from the opposite direction. He's coming at it from the left. So maybe many of us feel that we're going around in circles, that we have to keep trying new and different things, that our education and our experience isn't enough, that we have to learn more and better in order for us to be better. We don't have enough faith in ourselves and what we already have, that we have to somehow step out of the box, achieve more, and then maybe we'll be worthy of putting ourselves out there, making ourselves a priority and our dreams and goals a reality. We're still at the fooling around stage, right? And we want to be able to cut through all of that bullshit to get to the truth. I always see a sword as that I'm slicing through the bullshit, through the minutia, the lies, whether someone else's or my own, and I need a quick shot to the truth. And the page is telling us we don't need to start over, but we're stuck in that, consistent momentum of looking outside of ourselves to feel as if we can make ourselves a priority, when in reality, it comes from inside. So number 2, we have the story that I was taught. What old belief or conditioning has taught me that making myself a priority and my personal dreams and goals a reality is selfish, greedy, unrealistic, or unnecessary? This card brings us to the root of the problem. Before we can change the way we live, we need to understand the beliefs that created the life that we're currently living now. What types of stories we've heard have ranged from household to household, like we talked about before. Financial freedom is greedy. Pursuing our passion is unrealistic. Wanting motherhood and a career may be considered selfish, right? That success belongs to someone else. It's not your turn. Whichever story it is for you, this card asks us to identify at least one story, one theme, so we can begin to understand where our beliefs and behaviors originated from. And even though this is a group reading, and I can't determine each and every one of our individual, stories that we told, the awareness that maybe there was a story that I did hear that perhaps shaped the reasons why I feel about myself the way that I do is powerful enough to bring us back to that voice or bring us back to that experience and have that awakening moment. Some questions to ask ourselves are, where did I first learn this belief and whose belief was it originally? How has this story influenced the choices I've made about relationships, money, career, family, and success? Or what stories do I hear myself repeating to other people, right? Like my children, my family, or my friends. Sometimes that can be our biggest clue. So for card number 2, we have the story that I was taught. This is the 5 of Swords. So again, lots of swords here, right? There's a lot of internal conflict going on in this reading. So a 5, okay, when we come up through the minor arcana, 4 is about stability, and we're just starting to gain strength. 5 represents it's all falling apart, right? We thought we had a nice foundation, something happens and everything falls to the ground, okay? The swords, again, intuition, intellect, our intelligence, communication, and truth. This card depicts a man here that he's not only won the battle, he's so over-aggressive, he took the enemy's weapons. But this isn't a war like in the major arcana. This is at the lower level, okay? So maybe there was someone in your early developmental years that taught you you had to push so hard and work so hard and do so much that you were never good enough. You didn't do that good enough. You didn't do this good enough. You'll never be good enough. Whatever the words are, but that not good enough happens to be your theme. That if you didn't not only win the race, you had to win it all the way in 3 counties over, you weren't good enough. Like for instance, if I didn't do playing baseball, we did a double play, why wasn't it a triple, right? Something like that. You might live with someone that was constantly criticizing all of the good things that you did, but not acknowledging any of it. They kept saying, why didn't you do this better? Why didn't you do that better? And that can certainly sometimes create 2 different people. Sometimes we can have someone that's so overly ambitious, they run over everyone, or someone who's just so terrified, they don't believe they can do anything right, so they're no longer going to try. So for card number 3 is, where have I abandoned myself? Where am I continuing to put myself last in order to meet the needs, expectations, and desires of others? Self-abandonment, it doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like automatically saying yes. Sometimes it's changing our plans to accommodate others. Sometimes it's postponing our work, our dreams, our rest, or our finances, or whatever it is for you, because we've decided someone else's needs are more important. This card reveals where that pattern still may be operating. Some questions to consider are, where am I consistently giving away my time, energy, money, or attention that I may actually need for myself? What am I afraid of happening if I begin saying no? Where do I need to remember that I am just as important as everybody else? So for card number 3, where have I abandoned myself, is the Queen of Swords. So many swords, it's so crazy. So this happens to be my tarot card, right? When you do like this personality quiz, I come out of the Queen of Swords and it makes perfect sense. So we've already discussed what the swords represent. When we have the Queen, we have someone who is rising up through her ranks, right? You've gained your strength, you're honing your craft, you're getting very adept at what it is that you know and do. And it's not that we're learning more, we're tuning our energy in, we're fine-tuning our energy and beginning to perfect our craft, whatever it is that we do. The Queen is very much about honesty, right? Getting right to the point, not, manipulating and using the bullshit and all these other fancy words. She wants to know what is the truth. So where have I abandoned myself is discovering my honest truth, who I am at a core. That maybe you've had to go through life pretending to be someone else, that you've had to borrow your energy maybe from another family member, maybe someone in your work life, or maybe someone that you encountered that you looked at them, idolized them, and decided that I have to be like that person. That if they're like them and they're successful, if I try to be like them, that I can be successful as well. But success doesn't come from other people. It comes from within. It comes from doing our own work. And when we begin to forget about ourselves and look at other people as being more admirable or smarter, wiser, more talented, or whatever the case may be, right? We totally abandon ourselves and our special gifts and graces because, like I said, each and every one of us come into this world with a gift, a passion, a purpose, and a plan. And when we stay small and look to other people, we're not being our authentic self. Maybe we become successful, maybe we become popular, but we're never truly fulfilled. We never have that feeling in our heart and our soul. There's always that cold iciness, that disconnect from others around us because our wins haven't occurred naturally. They're not authentic. They're coming from someone else's experience. Card number 4, what has kept me safe? So there's a flip of the coin to this. What fear, habit, excuse, or protective pattern has allowed me to avoid pursuing the life that I want? This card requires compassion and honesty. Sometimes putting everyone else first isn't about generosity. Sometimes it's about protection. If we're always busy helping someone else build their life, we never have to discover whether we can build our own. We don't have to risk failure. We don't have to risk criticism. We don't have to risk being seen. And perhaps most interestingly, we don't have to risk succeeding. This card isn't here to shame us for playing safe. It's here to ask us, what are we really protecting ourselves from? What is that under truth? And I would have to say that at times we've all experienced this, that when we think about putting our neck out there, stepping out, this fear overwhelms us and we're like, whoa, I really don't know how to do that. I'm gonna go over here and sit quietly, when really you do. But that fear of playing small protects us from maybe any potential embarrassment. And for human beings, being embarrassed is like one of the top 3 things that human beings will avoid at all costs, okay? So some questions for us to consider. What has hiding prevented me from having to face? What excuse do I repeatedly use that may contain a deeper fear underneath it? What would happen if I thanked this protective pattern for getting me this far and decided that I no longer needed it? So for card number 4, what has kept me safe? The Knight of Swords. I swear to God, I have shuffled this deck so many times. This is crazy. So, and just as we see this guy coming in here, he is all balls, right? He is running. His sword is up in the air. He's going full throttle ahead. He's maybe not even sure what exactly he's doing. The Knight in some of the suits can represent some form of reckless abandon. In the Pentacles, it represents being stuck. In others, it means different things. But now, the Knight of Swords, we raised up a little bit from the page, right? We have our skill, we have our craft, and now we're utilizing it, but sometimes it's with reckless abandon, right? It's like when we get a new toy and we're playing with it and we're doing all these different things. Sometimes we break it accidentally. This is where we can be at with what has kept me safe, okay? We don't want to appear as someone who's running wild. We don't want to look like we're running with reckless abandon. We want to appear more demure, more professional, more polished, okay? So there's that, maybe that's the deeper fear. So we see ourselves as someone like this. When we ask, what has kept me safe? What fear, habit, excuse, or protective pattern has allowed me to avoid pursuing the life that I want? We don't want to look crazy. We don't want to look like we don't know what we want to doing. Our maybe inner fear is we need to become more polished. We need to become more secure, that we're not ready yet. We're waiting. We're waiting for some calling. We're waiting for someone or something to tell us, okay, Kristen, now you're ready to read professionally. Now you're ready to teach yoga on camera. Maybe you're ready to do something this. When that has to come from within us, we have to literally step out and do it. We have to risk that embarrassment or looking a certain way towards other people. That's really the only way to get to where we need to be. For card number 5, the woman who chooses herself. Who am I becoming when I finally believe that I'm equally worthy of my own love, time, energy, resources, and attention? This is the reclamation card. This brings us back to the woman that we were originally created to be. We're not becoming selfish, we're correcting an imbalance. This is a powerful middle ground between sacrificing ourselves for everyone and then caring about only ourselves as well. That middle ground is called self-respect. Self-respect says, your dreams matter and mine do too. We don't have that but, there's an and. Your needs matter and mine do too. Your life matters and mine does too. This card introduces us to the woman who no longer needs permission, acceptance, a cue, or anything else to finally step fully into her light and participate in her own life. Some thoughts for us to think about are, what does this version of me believe about herself that I am still learning to believe? What boundary, habit, or decision would naturally change if I valued myself? How might I carry myself differently if I stopped apologizing for wanting a beautiful and luxurious life? If I pull another sword, I don't even know what I'm going to do. Okay, so for card number 5, the woman who chooses herself. We have the 10 of Cups. We broke the spell. So the cups represent love, relationships, spirituality, connection to other people, deep emotional feelings, right? When we see the 10 of Cups, we're at the high end of the minor arcana, right? We've accomplished all of those smaller things that we've been working towards. And when we're at the 10, we're celebrating our success, and we're also prepared to move up into the court cards, right? So when we see this card, the woman who chooses herself, who am I becoming when I finally believe that I'm equally worthy of my own love, time, energy, resources, and attention? We're genuinely becoming happy. We learn to let all of that negativity and that stripe go. We're not hanging on to that anxiety. We're not hanging on to that worry that someone's going to call us, or our job is going to ask us to do something, or we really want to start this business, but inside we just don't feel ready. It takes away all of that anxiety, okay? When we become that person that chooses herself, that I matter too, I'm important, we stop taking care of other people, because we have a whole life to live here. And it may not just be about family and children, because not everybody has that, but it's doing about what matters the most to you. What brings that joy and that genuine happiness in your heart, right? And finding self-respect frees us from having to feel that mental anxiety, that stress, and that overwhelm that we wake up with every single day. We're finally allowed to feel that peace, to feel happiness. And it also frees us up into other things, right? Maybe we can move on to more healthy and well-balanced relationships, right? Maybe we reconnect to our spiritual path, or whatever it is for you, but it's letting go of all of those sword cards, all of that animosity, and stepping into a loving light. Next, we have card number 5, the woman who chooses herself. Who am I becoming when I finally believe that I'm equally worthy of my own love, time, energy, resources, and attention? This is the reclamation card. This brings us back to the woman we were originally created to be. We're not becoming selfish, we're correcting an imbalance. There's a powerful middle ground between sacrificing ourselves for everyone and then caring only about ourselves. That middle ground is called self-respect. Self-respect says, your dreams matter and mine do too. See, there's an and in there, not a but. Your needs matter and mine do too. Your life matters and mine does too. This card introduces us to the woman who no longer needs permission or acceptance or a cue, right, to finally step into light and fully participate in her own life. Some questions may be, what does this version of me believe about herself that I am still learning to believe? What boundary, habit, or decision would naturally change if I truly valued myself? How might I carry myself differently if I stopped apologizing for wanting a beautiful and luxurious life? So for card number 5, we have the woman who chooses herself, the 10 of Cups. Beautiful. We broke the spell of the swords. I'm like, oh my God, if I pull the sword card, I don't know what I'm going to do. So with the 10 of Cups, the 10s represent love, relationships, connection, family, also our spirituality, our feelings, and our emotions. And the 10 represents the highest attainment of the minor arcana. We came into this path, or whatever little journey we're on. We built a foundation that fell apart. We picked ourselves back up. We learned some more. And now we're preparing to up level into the court cards. The 10 is about celebration. Before we move forward into the next step of our life, we pause and we celebrate. We take in these wins. And for some of us, it may not be about family. Some of us don't have family, but it's about being able to do the things that we love. When we look at card number 5, the woman that chooses herself, right? When I finally believe that I'm equally worthy, I let go of all of those sword cards. I let go of all of that strife, the anxiety, the worry, the fear, the stories, all of those things, whether we heard them from someone else, we heard them in a past life, or we made them up in our head. Wherever they came from, we learned to let all of that aside, because now we can finally achieve happiness, peace, right? It's not just about the success and abundance. It's about what emotions are connected to having that type of stability. We're at ease. We're happy, we're joyful, we're able to celebrate, we're able to sit for 10 seconds without having to worry, right? Maybe someone is going to call us and ask us to do something, or maybe something at your job, they've been training you for something and they want you to do it, and we're hiding from all of these things because we don't want to look or feel a certain way. But once we let that all go, once we come back to our authentic self and live from that genuine perspective, there's no need to feel all those swords. We're all about love and light at that point because it's natural. It's who you were originally created to be. We're no longer putting on that facade. We're coming at ourselves as our true selves. Next, we have card number 6, the dream that still wants me. What dreams, passion, and purpose still exists deep within me and is asking to be brought to life, because underneath all the responsibility, the conditioning, the disappointments, and the years that have passed, something is still there. Something we wanted, something we imagined, something that made us feel alive. Perhaps we buried it so deeply that we've convinced ourselves that we no longer want it. This card asks us, what if we do? Our dreams don't necessarily have an expiration date. It may have just been lying there in wait. Also, sometimes our dreams change and evolve over time. They grow and change as we do. We're not asking who you wanted to become 10 or 20 years ago. We're asking what dreams and goals are ready to be born in this moment. And some thoughts for us to consider are, what desire do I feel deep within my soul that keeps returning to me no matter how many times I push it aside? What part of myself comes alive when I imagine pursuing it? If I truly believed my life still held enormous possibilities, what would I want to create, experience, become, or contribute? So for card number 6, the dream that still wants me, is the Fool card. Oh, what a nice card for here. I'm so glad we're over those swords. So the Fool card, the beginning of the major arcana, we've kind of worked our way up towards this, right? We really want an experience of a lifetime. When we say, oh my God, there's so much in this card. So the way I see the Fool card is an individual here. He's walking up a cliff, an icy cliff. His eyes are closed. He's looking up in the air. He doesn't have a care in the world because he believes so strongly in himself and that what he is doing has such divine purpose. He knows that the universe has him. He doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have to stress. He doesn't have to fear. It's not just confidence. It's pure belief in himself, his higher power, everything else around him, that he has this. And when we look at ourselves, the dream that still wants me is the dream to pursue everything that we've always imagined without feeling guilty, without feeling shame, without feeling overwhelmed, without having all of these fears. In a group reading, we're unable to determine exactly what our individual dreams and desires are, right? But we can read a card and look at that overarching story of how we want to feel as a community, and that's to live fully, to have that faith and trust in ourselves that we can wake up every day knowing we're doing exactly what we came into this world to do. And our work begins to flow effortlessly through our fingers when we're connected to our divine purpose, right? We come into this world, like I say, a gift of passion, a purpose, and a plan. We sit down with the council on the other side. We craft all these things out. We come into this world, we start to remember, we build ourselves, and we create our dreams and desires and live that life that we wanted. When we're in that zone, when we're in that moment, we know it. You want to think back to a time that you felt confident, you felt sure of yourself, you felt like you could do it so easily and it felt so right, all right? That's a sign that something lives within you that wants to come to life. Sometimes we don't know what our dreams and goals are, right? I know people that are fabulous bakers. They love to bake. Baking brings them joy, but they never thought about opening a baking business, right? There's people that are natural coaches, problem solvers. They have these amazing skills, but they never thought about becoming a mentor or a life coach, right? Sometimes we don't always know, but what we do know is that when we are connected on that level, we don't have a care in the world. We're just going up into the world doing our thing because we know the universe has us. There's no fear of failing because we're not going to fail. We may have a bump, we may have a slip, but it's not the end of the world because it's our deepest desire. Card number 7. Card number 7 is moving forward with powerful intent. What single action can I take to make myself a priority, my dreams and goals a reality, and move forward in all the ways I desire? This card reveals how we can fully step into our light and finally shine and make a powerful difference in the world around us. We don't have to have the whole entire plan. We just need one single step, right? One single action that leads to forward consistent momentum. And it is scary to finally put ourselves out there, right? To put ourselves first, to step into that light. But we have to remember that our newfound faith is stronger than someone else's fear. This guy right here doesn't care one iota about a story we heard in our youth. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. This individual believes in their higher power, their spiritual team, themselves, and their mission. There's no more space for all of that anxiety. Next, we have card number 7, moving forward with powerful intent. What single action can I take to make myself a priority, my dreams and goals a reality, and move forward in all the ways that I desire? This card reveals how we can fully step into our light and finally shine while we're making a powerful difference in the world around us. We don't have to have the entire plan. We just need one single step, one single action that leads us to forward momentum. And it may be scary to finally put ourselves first, to put ourselves out there, to bring our dreams and desires into fruition. But we have to remember that our newfound faith is stronger than someone else's fear. This individual right here doesn't give two shits about someone else's story, okay? They've let all of that go. They are so well connected and so in tune with their energy, the universe, their higher power, all of the things. They don't care about any story they heard 50, 60 years ago. All they care about is their mission and what they're doing going forward. Just as each and every one of us came into this world with a gift, a passion, a purpose, and a plan, Spirit created each and every one of us to become successful and abundant beyond measure. Because the more successful and the more abundant that we become, the greater the difference that we can make in the world around us. Our prosperity and abundance isn't to line our pockets with gold. It's what allows us to positively inspire and influence others, to reach down and offer a hand up, and to teach others how they can put themselves first and how they can shine their inner light. Happiness, success, prosperity, and abundance is a spiritual calling. There's no need to feel greedy, guilty, selfish, or unworthy. This card reveals how we can take everything we've learned today, harness our energy and our intention to create a clear pathway to becoming the highest version of ourselves and making all of our dreams come true. Some questions to ask ourselves are, what have we always been passionate about but didn't have the belief to address it? What specific action is available to us right now? What do I need to stop doing in order to create that space for that priority? What commitment am I willing to make to myself and keep even if someone doesn't understand or approve? So for card number 7, moving forward with powerful intent, we have the 7 of Pentacles. Perfect card to end this part of the reading with. The pentacles represent money and finances, business, and things like that. It also represents prosperity, abundance, stability, security, all of those things that come with being financially sound. When we see the seven, seven can represent reflection. We're working up the minor arcana. There's a time in there to pause, to look back on what we're learning, and to be, to take an account for ourselves, to overlook the things that we've done, to see if there's any improvements or adjustments that need to be made. Or sometimes it's just taking a moment to honor everything that we've accomplished so far, right? This gentleman here is stepping away from his work and he's admiring all the beautiful pentacles that he's grown. He's not criticizing himself. He's not condemning himself. He's not saying that it's not enough. He's sitting there and he's admiring literally the fruits of his labor, right? So when we look at ourselves moving forward with powerful intent, one step we can take is maybe to pause and look how far we've come to this point. Look back at all the things that we have accomplished. There's things that we've done. There's things that we've done very well. It may not feel like it initially, but when we sit with ourselves in our own energy, maybe get a journal out, do the yoga class, do some meditation, we can begin to look back and say, hey, I was really good at that. I did it really well. Or, God, I really enjoyed when I did this. I was really good at that. I didn't realize I did it so well. We don't know that when we keep steamrolling our thoughts forward, because people like you and I that have been inundated with decades of trauma and drama, we do everything we can to keep the wheels turning, because in our mind, if we slow down, we're going to start thinking. When we start thinking, we start remembering. And there's some of those memories we don't want to relive. However, that balance with self-respect, right? We have to remember. We have to have the common sense to override that negativity and look through all of those things for those things that we have done well. What accomplishments are already on our plate that maybe we didn't even give ourselves credit for? When we look at number 7 with the Pentacles, stepping back and admiring the fruits of our labor, in order to go forward, sometimes we have to look back and take a calculation of that, because in an essence, that's what gives us the power to break free from this sword spell that we've been under, right? We go back to card number 1, let me go back to my beginning here, where we are in this moment. We have the Page of Swords. We have someone who's been going at everything the wrong way. They're going around in circles. They keep thinking they have to add more and better to what they currently have. They feel like they have to learn more, be more, or do more, that what they currently are and have isn't enough. Because card number 2, they were grown up with, you're not good enough. You don't do anything enough. You don't do anything right. There's something wrong with you. How come you can't do this? How come you can't do that? How come your brother does it better? How come your sister does it better? How come the guy on your baseball team does it better than you, right? There was never really anyone to honor those powerful things that you did. So we naturally begin to suspect that maybe I can't do anything right. I go through that with the cards sometimes. If I haven't read for a while, I can doubt myself. But readings is one of the top 3 things that I do very well in my life. I have to get out of my head. Listen, once we get on this journey, healing isn't automatic. It's doing the same consistent actions every day to rebuild that belief in ourselves, to reconnect to who we were originally created to be, because we're overcoming so much of this damage and dysfunction. In card number 3, where have I abandoned myself? We're living through someone else's dreams. It's like we're living our lives through the eyes of others. Maybe we found someone or looked to someone and said, I need to be like her. I want to be like her. And I've had some extraordinarily successful female role models in my life. And at times I've had to borrow some of their energy, but I could never step into their shoes or come at life from their perspective, simply because it's not my gift, right? We can look at people like that as an inspiration, that we see them living their goal fully. They are shining their light. They're doing, and their dream has evolved into ways, I wish I could talk about it on here. I have a few people that they're just flowering and blossoming, and everything that they do just grows in fabulous ways because they're living their divine purpose. We haven't lived ours yet. We're not connected to our truth, our own independence. We've iced ourselves out away from that situation. We look at card number 4. What has kept me safe? The fear of looking like a reckless idiot. We've got this guy coming in, barreling on a horse. He's on ice and snow. He has no idea what he's doing. He's got his sword up in the air, yet he has no clue, right? He's doing 50 things at one time, and maybe there's a fear of embarrassment. There's a fear that we don't know enough. We're waiting for someone to signal us, to tell us that, okay, now you're ready to put yourself out there. Card number 5, the woman that chooses herself, right? When we make ourselves a priority and our dreams and goals a reality, we find that peace, celebration, happiness, success, whatever it is for you. Here we see a family in the traditional role models, and back in the day, that was a status quo. Today, families look so many different ways, right? So it's up to you to discover, what is that for you? Right? When we let all of those swords go, we open ourselves up to our own light, the things that we enjoy, and then we bring that positive energy into our life. We come to card number 6, the dream that still wants me. Being able to step into that light and not have a care in the world. We are so in tune with what it is we're doing, what we want to achieve, that we know the universe has us in every way. There is no fear. We are living our divine purpose. And the most powerful step that we can take to move forward with powerful intent is to pause and to look back. Where have I felt my greatness before? Where have I shined in life? You may have to go back to elementary school, or maybe high school, or maybe somewhere around the way. But my intuition tells me that each and every one of you has something that you can feel proud about, that we can bring that energy forward to fuel us forward to live that life that we've always imagined. And I have one final card, which is our goddess card. Card number 8, message from our inner goddess. Today it's from the Witchling deck from Paulina Cassidy. I just love her cards. They're so whimsy. I have her Joie de Vivre deck. I can never say it right. I always feel so funny saying it. But I do enjoy those tarot cards. And sometimes we need a little light whimsy in our life. And our goddess card is, this is the card that reveals spiritual support from our inner goddess. Our inner goddess is our authentic self, okay, the woman that we were originally created to be. But because of all the trauma and drama we've incurred, she's sunk back into our psyche. But through our yoga, our readings, and our transformational work, we're slowly bringing her back to life. This card acts as our spiritual spotlight, right, shining a light through the darkness that leads us back to who we are at a core level. So I always like to share this little bit of inspiration. Some thoughts we can consider are, how can I open my heart and soul to this divine transformation? How can I continue to grow and expand on this new awareness and not slip back into those old stories? What new habits, beliefs, and behaviors can I cultivate to continue my forward momentum? So for our goddess card, we have patience. Doesn't she have beautiful whimsy art? I just love her cards so much. And our message is, nurture the seeds of patience and reap the rewards of personal achievement. So this is a very specific message, because there are many of us that once we start to begin this work, we start to do this journey, we connect to our passion, our purpose, and we begin to get active within that, and we start our transformational process. We can sometimes quit too early because we're not seeing those initial seeds of success. We go back to the page card. This is a representation of, not only are we trying so many things, we're not giving them enough time to see if it actually works. Okay, that we can learn new things and think that success is automatically going to happen, that we're going to quickly up level to the Fool card here, that everything is going to come together. Things take time, and time is individual. For each and every one of it's different. But the sooner that we take the steps, the sooner that we do the things, the sooner that we pause to reflect and begin to really pay attention as to what's important to us, right? We start to put ourselves out there. We open up ourselves to making ourselves a priority, our dreams and goals a reality. We pull our power back. We push those stories aside. We rebuild ourselves from a core level. And as we get focused, that patience is a powerful part of that momentum, because we're just at the door opening. We don't know where it's going to lead us. But if we stay with something long enough, things are going to unfold in amazing ways. I started my career as a nail tech. in 1985 when I graduated high school. I became a nail tech, then I was a hairdresser, then I became an instructor, then I owned my own business, then I became a massage therapist, an esthetician, an aesthetics instructor, then a yoga teacher, right? We get our door in one thing, we get our foot into one thing, and it grows from there. When you're on the right path, everything else opens up after you. It really is a wonderful experience, but we have to have the ability to stick with one thing for more than just 5 minutes. All right, everyone, thank you very much for joining me on this reading today. I truly hope that you found it beneficial, and it is scary to put ourselves out there, especially when we grew up with the belief that we're not good enough. I didn't hear that particular story as much, but I know people that had, right? I know people that did amazing things in their life, and that there's always that one individual there just to crush their success at every given opportunity, even years later into life. So I understand how debilitating it can be. But at the end of the day, we have a choice. We can have a choice to hang on to that story or shine our light. And if we're in that Generation X realm and above, we're not getting any younger. I'm on the high end of it. I'm going to be 60 in February. If I don't get my shit together now, how much more time do I have? What else do I need to open myself up to this experience? So it really comes down to us, that there's no cue, there's nothing or no one that's ever going to tell you that you're ready. There's nothing that you're going to feel inside of you that says, okay, you've arrived, all right, you're ready, you're dressed, you're all ready to go, all your skills are polished, and you're a certain way, and now you can put yourself out there. It comes from just opening up the door. I started on Periscope doing live readings. I worked in a store for a little while, but most of my success came from doing them live. I was one of the first ones to ever do it, okay? And it was terrifying, but it taught me how to be better and better every day. I did it, and I grew in my skill until eventually I was creating my own courses, right? So that's what this leads us to. Each and every one of us are worthy of making ourselves a priority and our dreams and goals a reality. It really comes down to deciding. So thank you very much, everyone. I truly hope you have a wonderful day. Brightest blessings, everyone, and namaste. Again, please feel free to check out the yoga class. I have many more up in my channel. And if you could please like this video, I'd appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I deeply appreciate all my subscribers. I'm still building the channel, and every single one of you sincerely count. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Brightest blessings. Namaste. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone. Thank you.